So for me, there's 6 main types of overnight oats that I like to make. And I'm not talking about flavors, I'm talking about categories I like to make based on what I want and what I'm in the mood for. So there's budget. These are made with cheap ingredients, but they're still delicious. Speedy, perfect if you're having a busy week. Dessert for breakfast, my personal favorite category. Classic, some of the most timeless sort of flavors. Energy, for when you really need an extra boost in the morning. And calming. This one might sound a little bit strange, but there are actually some ingredients that can help to relax you.
These are all easy. You basically just stir some ingredients together in a jar and then store them in the fridge overnight.
So I'm gonna show you some of my go-to simple recipes for each one of these 6 categories. And if you need an energy boost, then I think you're gonna love this first one. Coffee, and dates. Together, these make one of my favorite breakfasts right now. Add some oats to the mix, and I just really feel like it keeps me going for hours after breakfast.
It's really simple. I'm adding half a cup of rolled oats to a jar with 2 teaspoons of chia seeds. Those are always the base ingredients that I use. 2 teaspoons of instant coffee. You can add 1 to 2 depending on, how strong you like it. I like it kind of strong. And then 2 dates roughly chopped up. I also like to add 1 teaspoon of maple syrup for extra sweetness. Sometimes I add a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. It's optional, but it really does give it that extra touch. It's just expensive, so I don't always use it. And then 1/2 to 2/3 of a cup of liquid. I use almond milk if I'm not doing any toppings, but if I'm adding toppings, then I'm just going to use water.
I made this one last night to show you what it will look like the next day. It's gone nice and thick. You can eat it just like this, it's delicious like this, but I'm gonna show you how to take it to the next level.
This is what I call the weekend version. Take a 1/4 cup of plain yogurt, any kind. I use unsweetened coconut. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of maple syrup and a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract to that. Mix it together, and the vanilla is optional as always, but we're making it deluxe today. I'm adding 1 tablespoon of almond butter on top of the oats, spreading it out. You can use any nut butter. And then on top of that, I'm adding the sweet yogurt. And now we have 3 layers. They go so perfectly together. Just sprinkle some extra coffee on top if you want. Make it look like a dessert.
And there you have it. Coffee date overnight oats. It's gonna give you lots of energy and it's dessert worthy, and this is my favorite breakfast right now. One of my favorite quick breakfasts starts with an apple.
You can chop half a small apple or about a 1/4 of a large apple, and you can add it to a bowl with the oats and the chia seeds. I like to add some nuts for some extra crunch and protein. About 10 chopped almonds or walnut halves is perfect. I really like to add 1 tablespoon of honey. You can use maple syrup if you want it to be vegan. And then for extra creaminess in this one, I like to use about 3/4 of a cup of almond milk. You may be wondering why I am mixing it in a bowl and then adding it to a jar. I really wanted to use these jars in this video, but they're only about 12 ounces. If you want something that's easier to mix in, I recommend using about 16 ounces. So I'm doing 2 steps, but either way, it's a great healthy breakfast that's ready in 5 minutes, and it's balanced with whole carbs, healthy fats, protein, and fiber. I really try to add all of the food groups to these breakfasts so that they're a bit more balanced and they keep you fuller for longer.
And that's honey apple overnight oats. It's one of my favorite quick overnight oats recipes to prep. You can just cover that and you can soak it in the fridge overnight. I prepped this one last night so you could see what it looks like the next day. It's gotten nice and thick. If you really want to, you can add a few more nuts on top, chopped walnuts, and you can add a bit more honey. And that's a really delicious breakfast that's ready in 5 minutes. The best part about it is that it cracks like a magnet.
We're making double chocolate overnight oats. So the same amount of oats and chia seeds as usual, then 2 teaspoons of cocoa powder, a teaspoon of maple syrup for sweetness. I like to add a little pinch of sea salt. This really helps to enhance the chocolatey flavor. And then for this one, I usually add about 1/2 to 2/3 of a cup of water. You can use milk for extra creaminess.
So there we already have amazing chocolate overnight oats. Now we're gonna take it to the next level with a topping that is incredible.
The topping actually couldn't be more simple. 1 tablespoon of melted coconut oil, 1 teaspoon of cocoa powder, 1 teaspoon of maple syrup, a tiny pinch of sea salt just to bring out that chocolatiness.
And then you can pour it on top of the chocolate overnight oats. Before you set it, you can put some nuts or some berries or something like that. So I'm adding some raspberries. Now you have double chocolate overnight oats ready to go in the fridge. I prepped this one last night so that I could show you what it looks like when it's set. The best part about it is that it cracks like a magnum. You've probably had a PB&J sandwich at some point in your life, but have you ever had the overnight oats version?
This one is as fun as it sounds. Get the oats and the chia seeds in a bowl, and this time we actually need a bowl. You'll see why. Then I add 1 teaspoon of maple syrup. I use maple syrup for most of these recipes besides the honey apple one, but you can use any kind of sweetener that you like. And always the optional extra, a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And I actually really like to use almond milk in this one instead of water. Any kind of milk or water is fine. Mix it in. Just a 1/2 cup is fine for this.
For this next part of the recipe, you can use any kind of jelly or jam as I call it, or you can use this.
You can add about 1/2 cup of frozen raspberries to a small saucepan on the stove with about 1/2 tablespoon of water to get it started cooking so it doesn't burn, and then 2 teaspoons of maple syrup just to balance out the natural sourness from the raspberries. Get the heat up and just stir it around the pan for 2 to 3 minutes. It cooks really quickly, and I don't know why. I look like I'm concentrating so hard on this to make this homemade jam. It's really very easy to make. I look kind of angry at the raspberries actually, but anyway. I love using raspberries. They have such a rich flavor and such a beautiful color comes out when you're cooking them. I like to leave mine a little bit runny like this with pieces in it. When it looks a little bit saucy like this, then it's ready. And you can pour it right into the bottom of the jar. This is where it gets really fun. You can add that overnight oats mix that we made on top. I love the little swirly pattern it makes around the oats. You can mix it in to get even more flavor throughout, but actually my favorite part about this one is keeping it separate. You get a bit of a different flavor with every bite. And of course we need peanut butter to finish this off, 1 to 2 tablespoons or however much you like. I do about 2 tablespoons. I like to just swirl it around the top of the oats so that the peanut butter stays fresh. If you just leave it on the top, it'll get a little bit hard when you put it in the fridge overnight.
This is what it looks like in the morning. If you want to get fancy, you can put some fresh raspberries on top, make it look extra pretty, and maybe even a little drizzle of maple syrup. And there you have it, peanut butter and jelly overnight oats. This one is simple, but it's surprisingly gourmet. If you want to feel like a kid again, this will do it. If you've got an overripe banana and you're on a budget, this is the easiest way and the cheapest way to make really creamy overnight oats.
Just smash a medium-sized banana with a fork and add it to a jar, or in my case, you know, the bowl, because I used the jars that were too small, with the oats and the chia seeds, 1 teaspoon of sweetener, any kind, a little bit of cinnamon, which is actually another one of my favorite budget-friendly ingredients. There's so much flavor packed into it. You can mix that together with 1/2 cup of water. I'm adding it to my jar. And then I like to add 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. And again, I like to swirl it in just to keep it fresh. It keeps it interesting from bite to bite. A little bit of this, a little bit of banana, a little bit of oats, a little bit of peanut butter. It keeps it exciting.
And that's what it looks like in the morning. You can save a few banana slices to add on top. If you want to make it look cute, a little drizzle of maple syrup, which you don't need, but there you go. Peanut butter, banana, swirled overnight oats.
So matcha and oats don't actually go that well together. But if you add yogurt and maple syrup, then it's amazing. This is a different way to make a matcha. With the oats and the chia seeds, I like to add 2 teaspoons of maple syrup, 1 teaspoon of matcha powder, a 1/4 cup of plain yogurt. I'm using unsweetened coconut yogurt, but any kind is fine. And with this one, I'm actually only using 1/3 of a cup of water because we've got the yogurt in there. It's already a little bit liquidy. It's always going to change slightly depending on what other ingredients you add.
This is what it looks like the next day. It's gone nice and thick and creamy. What I like to do is add some green apple on top. The color goes really nicely with the matcha. And a little bit of maple syrup. And that is a different way to make a matcha. By the way, I'm gonna put the ingredients for each of these on my blog for you. There'll be a link to that in the description box. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of my favorite ways to make overnight oats at the moment. The coffee date one is my absolute favorite right now, but the chocolate one was my favorite last week. So I love all of them, but I hope you enjoyed.